The bakery offers a lot of sweet treats, but only one category is called sweet goods. Depending on the bakery you work in, you might be filling orders for customers or filling a self-service case. Either way, you should be prepared for questions about these products. It's important that you have a working knowledge of the sweet goods you sell in order to properly handle them and talk comfortably with customers. Some of the top-selling sweet goods include coffee cakes and sweetbreads, like banana bread. These are made from cake batter and are typically sold in larger portions pre-packaged by the manufacturer. We're going to focus on single-serving items, mostly made from sweetened yeast dough, Danish dough, or puff pastry. Sweet dough and Danish dough are made with water, yeast, butter or shortening, sugar, salt, milk, eggs, and flour. Danish dough contains more eggs and butter than regular sweetened yeast dough. Puff pastry is simply flour, salt, water, and butter. Lots and lots of butter. We'll come back to this later. Your store might make sweet goods from scratch or purchase products as pre-portioned frozen dough to finish in the bakery or get them as frozen finished products to thaw and sell. Make sure you understand how to handle these items according to manufacturer's instructions in order to produce consistent products. The dough is just the beginning. Sweet goods often include fillings or other delicacies inside. Cream cheese, chocolate, almond paste, pecans, cinnamon paste. Obviously, there are a lot of options for fillings. The filling isn't the end though. Sweet goods are also topped with glaze or icing and other fun toppings. Glazes enhance the appearance and flavor while lengthening the shelf life. Icings come in a variety of flavors and also help preserve freshness. Popular toppings include cinnamon sugar, streusel or crumb topping, and nuts. Let's take a closer look at some popular sweet goods. Several types of pastries can be called sweet rolls. They come in all shapes and sizes, but are primarily comprised of sweet yeast dough, filled or topped with cinnamon, nuts, caramel glaze, or icing. Who doesn't love the smell of fresh cinnamon rolls? Strips of sweet yeast dough basted with cinnamon smear, a spreadable sugary paste, and sometimes nuts or raisins, and then rolled up and baked to perfection. Once baked, they're typically finished with icing. Of course, the best part is the middle, so save that for last. Caramel rolls are just like cinnamon rolls, but instead of cinnamon in the dough, they have caramel schmear with a layer of creamy icing or sticky caramel glaze on top. Sticky buns and pecan rolls are baked with a layer of caramel glaze and sometimes nuts on the bottom of the pan. Pull-aparts and monkey bread are similar, but instead of being spiral-shaped, they're made up of several small pieces of dough covered in cinnamon sugar and glaze. Danish pastries come to us from Denmark and are made with a slightly different dough. It's flakier and more delicate than regular yeast dough because of a process called lamination, in which alternate layers of dough and butter are folded over each other several times. Danish pastries are often made in spirals, crescents, and other shapes that are good for filling. The term Danish applies to a variety of pastries made with Danish dough, each sporting its own unique shape, filling, and topping. The most common pastry of this type is simply known as a Danish. Dough is shaped like a square envelope and filled with cream cheese or fruit filling, and then the corners are folded inward. Bear claws or combs are another variation. Danish dough is shaped into a rectangle with slices along one side. When it is curved slightly into a semicircle, the slices form the claws. Bear claws are filled with marzipan, a thick paste made of sugar and ground almonds, and topped with cinnamon sugar, almonds, and icing. Real bear claws, however, are not. Turning to puff pastry, let's talk about turnovers. These notable triangular treats are often filled with apples, cherries, or chocolate. Puff pastry begins like other pie pastries, but the lamination process results in a much flakier finished product. As it bakes, the melting butter and moisture in the dough release steam that causes the dough to rise up to 10 times its original height with many thin layers. Strudel is another popular portable pie with a flaky crust filled with cream cheese, apples, or other fruit. Providing fresh-tasting products in a clean and welcoming environment is vital to your business. Make sure the cases and glass are clean and sanitized according to your store guidelines. Also, be sure signs are placed correctly and are clearly visible with clear pricing. And as always, Good personal hygiene must be your standard every day as you handle other people's food. Sweet goods are very perishable. Self-serve sweet goods have a shelf life of 1 day. Packaged sweet goods can retain freshness longer, but it's important to follow the date on the package. Rotating products using the first in, first out system can help ensure freshness. Check with your manager to understand your department's rotation guidelines and what to do with day-old or expired products. This has been an educational program brought to you by the International Dairy-Deli-Bakery Association.